Jordan.
And I would just yield to the Attorney General if she has anything to add.
I'm fine to continue. Thank you, Chairman.
All right, the chair now recognizes, the gentleman yields back. The chair recognizes the gentlelady from California.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would note that Mr. Nadler's question has not yet been answered, but I want to start by asking that out of respect for the American public and the Epstein survivors, some of whom, of course, are here today, that we can have a transparent conversation and get the public the answers they deserve. I want to briefly direct your attention to two documents I'm hoping we will put up on the screen. In the first, an individual emails Jeffrey Epstein asking whether a woman identified as M was pro or civilian, and Epstein responds that she was a civilian, Russian, and fun. In the second email, Epstein writes to Steve Tisch about a Ukrainian girl, noting that she was, quote, a little freaked out by the age difference and stating that he would try to convince her not to return to Ukraine. He then instructs Mr. Tisch to call him, adding, I don't like records of these conversations. So I'd like to ask a straightforward question that really is either a yes or no answer. Do these emails constitute credible evidence, not proof, but credible evidence warning further investigation into whether Steve Tisch was involved in Epstein's criminal conduct? Do you think yes or no?
I'm not going to play a yes-no game with you, but I will answer the question to the best of my ability. As I said, we will look and investigate any case involving any victim. I'm not familiar, there were 3 million pages, of course, with that email, but of course, we will look into anything. The documents have been released, 3 million, the redacted versions, we left them open for all of you to come view. Have you? I believe you view them. If not, will you have some copies?
I'd like to.
Could I finish, please? I'm not being rude, please.
I only have 5 minutes.
No, yeah, and I only have 30 seconds based on your filibustering.
Well, you didn't give a yes or no answer, so let me just go further. Director Patel testified in this committee room that there was no credible information indicating that Epstein trafficked victims to anyone else. And glancing at the documents, that proves that's not the case. In July, your department issued a memo stating that it had conducted an exhaustive review of the Epstein files and concluded that no additional individuals would be charged. So I did go over to the Department of Justice yesterday. I would note that 400 and all our 35 members are in the House, and there's 4 computers. So it would take many months to actually have the time. I only had a few hours. I think the transparency argument is really kind of a sham because it's not really possible.
Whoa. Did you have to wait to get a computer?
It is not possible to really go in. I did, however, see a U.S. attorney information for the Southern District of New York indicating that there were additional survivors and probable co-conspirators. Other members of Congress have uncovered likely co-conspirators whose names were blocked out. Now, the Epstein File Transparency Act, which all but one member of this House voted for and the president signed, requires the department to release everything except that it needs to be redacted to protect the victims or an ongoing prosecution, which apparently there is none from the testimony we have received. I am concerned that this act has not been fully complied with. When Director Patel came to the committee, he admitted that up to 1,000 FBI agents had gone through the files and redacted President Trump's name from them. And it's pretty clear that what has been transmitted from the FBI continues to redact President Trump's name, even though he is mentioned, thousands of times in these files. So I think the credibility of the department in terms of complying with the act has been damaged. And I think the department's credibility has been damaged in other ways. I think we all saw the horrible video of American citizens being killed by ICE agents in Minneapolis. And I think how the department has handled these cases raises a lot of doubt about the department. State and local police in Minnesota got a court order to get access to the crime scene to be sure evidence would be properly preserved by federal agents. But they took the agents defied the court order, and in a departure from general policy, the DOJ is not collaborating with state and local law enforcement on these homicides. So I really think that is a disgraceful approach to the homicides of American citizens, and really does nothing to bring credit to your department. And Mr. Chairman, I would yield back.
Gentleman yields back.
May I answer?
Attorney General can respond.
I find it interesting that she keeps going after President Trump, the greatest president in American history. And if they could maintain their composure, this isn't a circus, this is a hearing. I find it interesting she keeps going after Donald Trump. She doesn't say how much money she took from Reid Hoffman, did you? None. And nor did
Mr.
she
Chairman,
post
regular
anything.
order, please.
She
Regular
posted
order.
nothing on her X account,
Gentlelady.
on her Twitter account during the Biden years.
Gentlelady.
And yet now,
there
all
was
of
no
a sudden,
question
she's
asked.
going after
Committee will be in
point of
order.
There was
files.
no
Committee will
question
be in
asked
order.
the Attorney General. She doesn't just get to speak.
Committee will be in order.
I have a point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Committee will be in order.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Gentlelady can state her point of order.
When a witness attacks,
Not a valid point of order. You got to state.
She hasn't completed her point of order
haven't
yet.
got
Please
a
let her
site.
speak, Mr. Chairman. Let's have some regular order here.
Regular order is you got to state the rule. And she
I am
didn't do it.
trying to make a point of order that the witness,
And what rule are you referring to?
without responding to a question, has attacked me personally. I think it's pathetic that she can't answer the questions and
First
instead
time
is
that
attacking
is not even close
members
to a
of the
point of
committee.
order. The gentleman from Wisconsin is recognized.
In August of last year, I sent a letter to the Department of Justice asking for assistance in seeking compensation for the town of Lac du Flambeau. Town of Lac du Flambeau is in my district, and your office replied that it was an ongoing matter and unable to comment on it, which I understand. That's just fine. But I want to set this up just as a reminder. So 3 years ago, it was at this time of year that 4 roads were blockaded in the town of Lac du Flambeau, and the temperature was 25 below zero. People had to park their cars at a neighbor's place, take the snowmobile across the lake to get their car, and then be able to drive into town. There were people 80 and 90 years old that could not, were very concerned that they'd be able to get emergency medical services. And the perpetrators of this, the tribe out there, they demanded compensation from the town. I would call it extortion. They ultimately got $600,000 from the town of Lac du Flambeau. The unfortunate part, Mr. Chairman, is that the Biden administration took the side of the perpetrators who closed those roads off, and the Biden administration made it clear to the town of Lac du Flambeau that we are not on your side in regards to this. Well, fortunately, there was a federal judge that said, no, this is wrong, what happened, and these roads should be left open, they should continue to be left open. My question to you is, are you willing to work with my office and with the town of Lac du Flambeau to further investigate this matter and seek compensation from the tribal government after their extortion of $600,000 from this little town in northern Wisconsin?
Congressman, you do a great job representing your district. And yes, we would more than welcome working with you, and we are familiar with that investigation.
Mr. Chairman, I would just add, we're highlighting these miscarriages of justice in the previous administration. This is just another one of those small examples, no different than the Catholic Diocese in Richmond and many others that you have retold so many times. But here's another instance of what they did to a small town and nearly bankrupted them as a result of it. Fortunately, there was a federal judge that saw through it and has fixed it. I want to move on to fraud enforcement. You have established a National Fraud Enforcement Division, is that correct, Madam Attorney General?
Yes, Congressman.
Has this new division begun any investigations and getting after those individuals that have committed the rampant fraud we've seen, like in Minnesota?
Well, it's not only rampant in Minnesota, it's rampant throughout this country. Much of it is in California, as you know, and other places. Yes, we are working on it actively. Our criminal fraud division has been working on it. We are expanding that. It was the Vice President's idea to come up with this amazing separate fraud division, which we are establishing and going nonstop, not only to expose the fraud in Minnesota, but around the country. It's taxpayer dollars that have been stolen from the American people, and we are committed to recovering that money and holding those people accountable.
Mr. Chairman, I would remind everyone here, why did this happen in Minneapolis? Why did federal law enforcement have to go to Minneapolis? Because of industrial scale fraud. It was an assistant United States attorney that said, this is industrial scale fraud that's going on in Minnesota at this point. I sent a letter to our governor in Wisconsin. We're right across the border there. My district is only 20 miles from the city of Minneapolis. And I asked him to open the books for a federal audit on food stamps and Medicaid. Don't you think it would be a good idea for every governor to do that at this point?
It protects the citizens, and I can't understand why that's not happening. And yes, I do think that's a great idea. It's happening around this country. And when our new division with Colin McDonald is established, it's established when Colin is confirmed. He's amazing. I think you've met with him, you said, Chairman. When that is established, we're going to work on both sides of the aisle. That's what we want to do, to stop fraud in every city, in every state in this country. We will continue to fight for the American people.
So you would encourage every governor across the United States, after what we have seen in Minnesota, what we almost certainly know is happening in other states, you mentioned California, you would agree that every governor should avail themselves of federal resources to make sure that this industrial scale fraud is rooted out to protect the taxpayers of the United States. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Tennessee is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, I'd like to thank you for holding this hearing and holding it in a proper fashion as you have. Secondly, I'd like to thank all of the victims of the Epstein case who've come here to attend this hearing, for doing it and for being brave and trying to move this justice forward. I apologize, I can't do it, but the Attorney General not recognizing you, that's embarrassing. I am from Memphis, General Bondi, and Memphis does have the task force there. The Memphis Safe Task Force has been operating in Memphis for several months, and we do have a Democratic Mayor, Paul Young, and he's not against the task force, but he is against ICE being in Memphis, and he's not in favor of the National Guard being in Memphis. And I concur with him on those positions.